Before we begin tonight's story, if you're new here, this is M.O.R.T.E.M, where we break down the darkest crimes in history using facts, psychology, and forensic detail. Turn off the lights, put your phone on silent, and step with me into one of the most disturbing cult murder cases in American history. Chicago, 1981. The city was already scarred by the memory of John Wayne Gacy. But what was about to unfold would make even hardened detectives shudder. The group would later be known as the Chicago Rippers, also called the Ripper Crew. 4 men: Robin Gecht, the alleged leader; Edward Spreitzer; Andrew Kokoralius; Thomas Kokoralius. According to one detective, Gecht made Charles Manson look like a Boy Scout. That is not hyperbole. Linda Sutton was 28 years old. She disappeared on May 23, 1981. 10 days later, her mutilated body was found in a field behind the moonlit motel. Her left breast had been amputated. Investigators at the time could not connect it to anything. There were no clear suspects, no organized pattern. It would be nearly a year before the crew struck again. And when they did, it was relentless. Lorraine Borowski was 21 years old. She worked at a real estate office in Clarendon Hills. She was unlocking the office in the morning. She never made it inside. 5 months later, her body was discovered in a cemetery. By this time, detectives knew something was wrong, but they didn't yet know how wrong. Shui Mak was a recent Chinese immigrant. On the night she vanished, she argued with her brother while driving home. He left her by the roadside. The Ripper Crew found her alone. They mocked her with racial slurs, beat her, knocked her unconscious. Her body was found 4 months later. 2 weeks later, they abducted Angel York. They handcuffed her. They slashed her breast. And then, they threw her out of the van while she was still alive. She survived. She described her attackers, but there were no leads. The van disappeared. Her body was found along the Chicago River. Strangled. Left breast amputated. Pattern confirmed. Then came Rose Davis. Same injuries. Same signature. In October 6, 1982. Drive-by. The gang committed a random drive-by shooting. 28-year-old Rafael Tirado died. His friend survived. This was the only male victim. Why the randomness? Because Robin Gecht reportedly told Spreitzer to slow down, then simply open fire. Impulse. Power. Kiss. Later that same day, Gecht lured Beverly Washington into his car. He offered her more money. She was assaulted, mutilated, and left by railroad tracks. But she survived, and she described the van. Police traced it. That van led to Robin Gecht. Robin Gecht was arrested October 20, 1982. Released. Rearrested November 5. Police connected the motel rooms he had rented in 1981. For adjoining rooms, loud parties, cult-like behavior. Edward Spreitzer confessed. Andrew Kokoralius confessed. Thomas Kokoralius confessed. They described Gecht's apartment as a satanic chapel. Thomas Kokoralius told police. They brought women back to the apartment. They raped and tortured them. They amputated breasts using a wire garrote. They ate parts of them as a sacrament. Gecht allegedly kept them in a box. He allegedly masturbated into them before sealing them. One detective reportedly said he had never seen evil like this. Robin Gecht maintained innocence. He was never tried for the murders due to lack of direct physical evidence, but he was convicted for the Washington attack. 120 years in prison. Projected parole. October 10, 2042. He would be 88. Edward Spreitzer. Originally sentenced to death. In 2003, Governor George Ryan commuted his sentence to life without parole. Andrew Kokoralius. Executed March 17, 1999. Last execution in Illinois before the death penalty was abolished in 2011. Thomas Kokoralius, given 70 years after plea deal. Released March 29, 2019. As of August 2024, residing in Peoria, Illinois. He told reporters, "I'm not a monster." Robin Gecht's son, David Gecht, was convicted in 1999 for murder. But his conviction was tied to misconduct by Chicago detective Reynaldo Guevara. Coerced confessions. False identifications. In 2022, David Gecht was exonerated. In October 2024, Cook County settled his wrongful conviction lawsuit for $3.1 million. The shadow of the Ripper crew extended into another generation. Illinois abolished the death penalty in 2011. Andrew Kokoralius was the last man executed. The Orthodox Church attempted to intervene. A priest became an anti-death penalty activist. The case became part of Illinois' broader reckoning with capital punishment. Were there truly 17 victims? Or more? Some disappearances were investigated, including Carol Pappas, but ruled accidental. But detectives still believed the full scope may never be known. M.O.R.T.E.M breakdown ranking. Motive: ritualistic, sadistic power control combined with cult-like delusion and cannibalistic sacrament behavior. 10 out of 10. Opportunity: targeted vulnerable women across suburban Illinois with mobile abduction strategy using van and isolated apartment location. 9 out of 10. Risk level: high-risk escalation including random drive-by shooting and survivor releases showing unstable behavioral control. 8 out of 10. Torture severity: extreme mutilation, dismemberment, necrophilia, cannibalism, and ritualistic degradation. 10 out of 10. Execution complexity: multi-offender coordination with cult hierarchy and prolonged concealment. 9 out of 10. Media and historical impact: contributed to Illinois death penalty reform debates and remains one of the most disturbing cult serial cases in U.S. history. 9 out of 10. Overall M.O.R.T.E.M score: 9.2 out of 10. The Chicago Rippers were not just killers. They were organized, ritualistic, predatory, and terrifyingly human. If you stayed until the end, thank you for spending your time with M.O.R.T.E.M. We tell these stories so the victims are not forgotten. If you haven't subscribed yet, consider joining the channel and turning on notifications so you never miss an episode. More deep dives are coming soon.